Hey folks, I'm glad you're here. My name is Chris, and this is the Sons of Sever YouTube channel where there's no such thing as bad weather, only bad gear. Today, we are talking about the Lems Mesa, which is a shoe that's actually been out for a while. And despite my personal opinion of it, spoiler alert, not my favorite shoe in the world. Some may even argue that it's not a barefoot shoe. We'll talk about that when we get to the specs, but people must like it because not only is it in stock in pretty much every size, which means they keep up with it, but they also have been adding colors to it over time since it came out, since I even got this sent out to me for review. So people's opinions of it must overall be pretty positive. We're gonna start off by talking about what the purpose of this shoe is, then we're gonna talk about the specs. After that, we're gonna get into my likes, my dislikes, and then I'm gonna give you my final opinion of the Lems Mesa. If you wanna skip around to different parts of the video, there are timestamps down in the description. Getting into the purpose of this shoe, if you go to the product details page, the first line it says is, "The Mesa is the natural next step in our Mountain to Town collection." So what that tells you is mountain to town, you're gonna start off hiking in this thing and then maybe wear it casually later in the day. Me personally, I do think this is a more rugged built Lems shoe. It's got some reinforcements in it. We'll talk about that in the specs, but I think it shines on the trail. For me, I actually bought it for work as a work shoe. I wanted a more barefoot but tough work shoe for my delivery job. Not gonna be my go-to Lems pick for a casual shoe, however. With that, let's get into the specs. So starting with what it's built out of, which I think is important. It's got a very sock-like upper, and then it has this TPU cage that surrounds it, especially a reinforced toe up here at the front, which I really appreciate when it comes to a shoe that's built for certain purposes like this one. That is going to take away from the flexibility of the shoe. It is pretty dang rigid. It doesn't fold up super easily like lots of other Lems shoes. We do have a pretty chonky EVA midsole, and then you can see the division between the rubber outsole and that midsole. We have a 16 to 20 millimeter stack height. I'm assuming that you can drop that about 3-ish millimeters if you take the insole out, which I did. And the reason why it's 16 to 20 is because this is not a zero drop shoe. It does have a 4 millimeter drop. This is where people are going to start saying this is not a barefoot shoe. Personally, I don't notice a 4 millimeter drop. I'd rather zero drop, but I used to get back pain from more dramatic drops. This does not do that to me. So for me, I can still consider it a barefoot shoe. We also have Lems narrowest last, categorized as their medium. So they have medium, wide, and widest. This is in the medium. Last thing to mention here is it comes in at 9.8 ounces, which is pretty light for a dedicated trail shoe. With the specs and the purpose of the Mesa out of the way, let's get into my likes of this shoe. I'm a big fan of the sock-like upper of this guy. I think it's very stretchy and comfortable. It feels good on foot, and I feel like it stretches well in the places where it's supposed to, and it has good rigidity in the places where it's supposed to as well. That's gonna be important for a shoe that you're probably mainly going to use out on the trails, and then someone like me is gonna use in a work environment. I'm a big fan of the reinforced toe, not just for my work environment, although it is nice because anytime I'm kicking boxes, I definitely want my toes protected, but that's also going to work really nicely out on the trail if you happen to kick rocks, trip over a stump or roots or whatever it is. This thing is going to protect your feet very, very nicely. The last like that I have of the Mesa, my likes being pretty short here, is going to be the look. I think this is a really good looking shoe. That's one of the things that drew me to it, even though it didn't necessarily have all of the features that I have come to love from a pair of Lems shoes. The one thing that I will say about it is that it is good looking. With my likes out of the way, it's time to get into my dislikes. But before we get into that, I want to mention some affiliates, one of which is Lems. I may not love this shoe, but there are a lot of Lems models that I do absolutely adore, especially their boots. I think that Lems is crushing the barefoot boot side of things. They continue to innovate in that space, and I guarantee you they're going to continue to innovate in that space. So if you're interested in checking out other Lems, make sure to hit this card up in the corner that will take you over to our Lems playlist. But then if you want to shop around on their website, head down to the link in the description that will take you over there. We do get a kickback back from that as an affiliate link, so we appreciate that from a channel perspective. Are you looking to take your barefoot shoe experience to another level? Then you're gonna need a solid pair of toe socks that lets you take advantage of all that toe box. We love Creeper's Toe Socks, a sock that beat out 6 other toe sock brands in a comparison video we did that you can see through the card up in the corner. Whether it's cold or hot, whether you're hiking, running, or lounging, Creeper's Toe Socks will ensure that your feet stay comfy, dry, and healthy. If you're interested in checking out Creeper's, head down to the link in the description and use our discount code to save yourself 15% off at checkout. Having a hard time blocking out the sunlight and the haters? Grab a pair of Frontline optics and feel good about it when you do. Not only are they stylish and effective, but a portion of every sale goes to the families of first responders who are lost in the line of duty. We are super proud to partner with Frontline Optics. Make sure to check out their offerings at the link in the description. Getting into my dislikes of the Mesa, I actually may rope myself in a little bit with the group of people who consider this to not be a barefoot shoe. And that's how I'm gonna frame my dislikes. The toe box is not very wide, the shoe is not very flexible, and it's incredibly thick. Plus that 4mm drop, which again, doesn't really bother me, but barefoot shoes tend to be 0 drop. But let's start with the wide toe box. This shoe was fine for me when I first got it. It was like 1.5 years, maybe a little less than that ago, and I started wearing it for work religiously. But if you've watched our foot health video, I'll put a card up in the corner for you to navigate over to that if you want to watch it. That video shows the dramatic change in my toe splay in 2 years of wearing nothing but barefoot shoes. My toe splay got way wider to the point where I really can't wear this comfortably anymore. Now, for someone out there with a more narrow foot who's looking for a shoe like this, that part's not gonna bother you. Moving on to the rigidity of this thing, part of that's good. The upper is rigid. In a shoe like this, that's purpose-built for trails and things like that, I'm gonna want that upper to be rigid, but the lower, I'm gonna want a little bit more flexibility in it, especially for a sneaker. Let's check out a boot from Lems, the Boulder Grip, which people adore. I think the base stack height of this is like 13mm or something like that, and it's way more flexible than the Mesa. As a boot, now you get more stack height if you're using the insoles, and that's a whole nother conversation, but this thing is more rigid than some of Lem's boots, and that's crazy for a sneaker. Now keying in on that stack height, 16 to 20mm is also quite a lot for a barefoot sneaker. I would love to see an offering from Lems, the Primal Minimus. There's a name for you, Lems. It's free. Go ahead and take it and make that shoe 8 to 12mm depending on your use of insole. People will gobble that thing up. So for me, not wide enough, not flexible enough for my foot to bend and flex the way that I want it to, and just too much stack height in a sneaker like this. There are other shoes out there that are purpose-built for the same things this thing is, and I would personally rather wear those. That's a pretty simple and easy final opinion for you, but the last thing I want to say is there is someone out there who fits this shoe perfectly fine. I think our marketing coordinator from Lems is one of those people. I remember when I ordered this, she said that it's one of her favorite shoes personally, so she probably doesn't need extreme width, extreme flexibility, or extremely low stack height. If you're in that camp and you're looking for a solid hiking sneaker, then the Mesa is probably going to do pretty good for you. Folks, if you liked this video, we would appreciate if you'd like, subscribe, comment, and share. All those things really help us out with the YouTube algorithm. If you're interested in any of the products that were showcased in this video, make sure to head down to the links down in the description. If we have discount codes for any of those companies, those will be featured with the links. If you're interested in behind the scenes, up close, personal, exclusive content from our channel, or you want to try to help the channel out financially, head down to the link in the description that will take you over to our Patreon page. There's a lot of really fun and unique footage that is posted on that Patreon page, and it is only $1 a month to subscribe. The first place where we post content of anything that we're working with is usually on Instagram in the form of unboxing videos. If you're interested in being most up to date with whatever it is we are working with, make sure to go and follow us there. Also, go check us out on Strava, which is a really cool social media platform where you can track your activity, and those you follow, you'll see the activity activities that they are doing. You can also list the gear that you're using. So that's what we do, whether we're running, trail running, hiking, paddle boarding, lifting weights. We track all of that, and we give little mini reviews of the products that we're using during those activities on Strava. Go follow us there, and we'll follow you back. We're glad you're here. We appreciate your view, and as always, we will catch you in the mountains.